All right, so here we're going to start with the augmented matrix method, solving a system. So we take this system and we're going to write the augmented expression. So basically we're going to take our coefficients and put them here and our constants and put them here. Now what we want to do is, again, we want to get it to the point where we have 1, 0, 0, 1, and then some k1 and k2. Okay, so that's where we're headed. So the way to do this is we're going to interchange these two rows. So first thing is to get that up there. So we're going to interchange row one and row two. Now, usually what we're going to do is, now they don't do this in the slides, but I'm going to say row one interchange with row two. And so that means I'm just going to interchange those two rows. Okay. Now, our next thing is we want to get a zero here. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to write this as now, when I get down here, I'm going to say, okay, well, let's take minus 3 row 1 plus row 2, and that's the new row 2. And that's what we do and get this point here. Now I need to be a 1 here because that was what I want to get. So I'm going to take 10 and divide it, that whole row by 10. And so I'm going to say, well, let's take 1/10 row 2, and that's our new row 2. So that's what we get here. Okay. Now I need this to be a 0. So now I'm going to take 2 times this row, add it to this row, and that should give me the 0 there. And so when I do that, I'm going to say, well, let's take 2 times row 2 plus row 1, and that's my new row 1. Okay. And when I do that, this is my final value. And this becomes the ones down the diagonal, zeros everywhere else. And on the other side, this is basically our answer. So what this says is x1 is equal to 3 and x2 is a negative 2. Okay, so we just kind of read across and that's what our answer is. And that's what they show here. And then they also kind of the key thing is to make sure and do a check. So they're going to verify the checks. So they're going to plug in the values, and that checks the first equation, and then that checks in the second equation. Okay, so that's how you're going to use the matrices. Now, again, this is easy with its 2 by 2. We can get up to 6 by 6 and still do this. It just takes a little bit longer. All right, let's pause there and come back for some more.